All right. Hi, Amy.
Hi.
And welcome to Talking with Tennis People. My name's host Eric. How are you this evening?
Good.
So, I typed you before, huh?
Yeah, you have.
And you were the one who killed it on the rat test? Were you that one?
Yeah, yeah, and you typed me as an ENTJ at the end.
Okay.
And but I think I was more memorable as the one that was really bad at the TI test instead.
I see.
Yeah.
It does pose an interesting um, conundrum or interesting pairing potentially because usually people who are TI polar, for example, are not going to have particularly strong introverted intuition, either because it's ignoring in
Hmm.
ENFP or because it's um, just not very developed in ESTPs or ESFPs. But anyway,
Right.
okay, so let's talk about your TI then. Why have you come to the conclusion that your TI is so shitty? Is it because of the tests that I gave you before and how you performed on them, or because you've watched more tests and continue to perform equivalently?
Well, a few days ago actually, I was listening to one of your live streams and you were kind of going off about TI tests, about somebody claiming to be an INTP, but they didn't do well on the TI test. Um, and I was like, I didn't do well on the TI test either. And I know that
Did
when
you
you are
did
an
you do that
NTJ,
badly?
I feel like I feel like I did. I don't know. I
Okay, but
um
let me ask you this real quick. Who is my mother's father's wife in relation to me?
sorry, your father,
My mother's
your
father's wife.
okay. Well, father's your father's
My
mother.
mother's father's wife.
So your mother, so grandfather's wife. I just don't know the like the name
Grand
of it, but so it would be your
grandmother.
grandfather.
It's your grandmother. Your grandfather's wife is your grandmother.
Because mother's your mother's fa-
Father's
father
father's wife
is
is your
so
grandma.
grandfather's wife.
Right. Is your grandmother. Just like my dad's wife is my regular mother.
Okay, sorry. I mean, I don't think that no, I don't think this matters much, but can we do non
No, no, that's fine.
like
I look, I
no
don't even necessarily want to test the shit out of your TI or anything. I just wanted to throw out one that through the last guy I talked to about this, the stream you're referring to probably, I was discussing it with a very nice and pleasant and classy ESFP guy who nevertheless was struggling with coming to terms with the fact that he perceived himself to be very logical and rational, but when he had his logic
right.
skills tested, he did very poorly. So one of the things, like, I asked that question towards the end, and he said, "I don't want any more of your riddles." But I thought, well, I mean, that's just your grandmother. I mean, that's not even a riddle. So that's why I threw it out there for you. So but what's weird is usually people don't come to me with accurate self assessments of their own deficit areas.
Right.
So, and especially not polar TI. But it's on the other hand, it's certainly more plausible in ENFP than it would be in, say, ESFP. But is there somewhere? Do you remember? Did I eliminate ENFP for some reason for you, or you just didn't seem very extrovertedly
Yeah,
intuitive?
because I was the very scary ENTJ.
Oh, because
Yeah.
you have SI polar, right? It's because your SI polar
Right.
is so pronounced. Okay, well, see,
Yeah.
all right. So let me do a little bit more SI testing to make sure I got that SI polar right. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, can we do the word association thing here where I'm going to give you 3 words. I'm going to ask you to make a normal word association, and then I'll demonstrate an SI word association. The first word is table. What word do you associate with it?
With a table?
Yeah, look, this is just plain old word association, like psychologists do, like this, like sky, blue, girl, boy, hat.
Oh, okay,
hat.
okay, got it. Okay, got it.
All right, so table,
Counter,
basketball,
hoops,
rain.
water,
Okay, so now we're going to use the same 3 words: table, basketball, and rain. And I'm going to ask you to do an SI example for me. Here's what one would look like. Let's say I give you the word chair instead of table. Well, chair reminds me of the chair I used to sit in at Temple City, and then later that at Laverne, because it was a big, tall back USC chair, and it was one of the few chairs that my top of my head didn't go over the back of it. That's an SI story link to the word chair. You do that to the word table. Go ahead and do that for table now.
Okay. Table reminds me of the dinner table that we just ate at, my husband and I. And we ate like Japanese food.
What is any more specific than that as to what you had?
Okay, so yeah, we had well, okay, so it's not Japanese food. It's Korean food. It's like kimchi and like with rice and like fish cakes. Yeah.
Sounds absolutely awful. Did you nevertheless, even though it's Korean food, say "Atakimasu" before you started eating?
No.
Oh, okay. I hate fish. I just can't eat fish. I don't know. Even when I go catch them myself from the river, like I like to go fishing at the lakes and the river, maybe catch fresh trout, you know. Even if I catch a beautiful fresh trout and I'm like, let's say I'm camping even, and I fry it up right there, I can only eat like one. I go, oh, this is really actually quite good. I eat like one piece of fish about this big, and then I'm done for fish for the next 1 year at least. Anyway,
really?
Yeah, I just not a fish. Unless it's swordfish is good. Swordfish is good. Tuna is good, but most fish that doesn't taste like swordfish or tuna tastes like fish. You know.
Oh.
Although it is Good Friday, so it's a good day to be enjoying fish today.
Oh, I didn't even think of. Wait. Oh yeah. Oh, I didn't think about that.
Jesus says, "Hey, you have to eat fish today." That's why they have filet of fish at McDonald's.
Oh.
Okay, so let's get back to you and your type. Okay, I agree your TI is terrible and your SI is terrible too.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
But I don't think your SI is maybe your SI is not polar though. That answer was not a polarish answer. So let's try again some more SI stuff.
okay.
Can you tell me what your husband did before you met him?
What he did before he met me.
Yeah. Like tell me about some story from his life before he met you that he's related to you. Like maybe he told you a story of one time I went with Aunt Jane down to the and you know, relate one of his stories.
Okay. He was an ambulance driver before he met me.
Really?
Yeah. And he told me like a bunch of stories about doing that.
Did getting with you cause him to lose the ability to drive an ambulance?
Oh no, it's not that. So he was that's right. Okay, so he was an ambulance driver before he met me, and the reason why he had left was just before he met me, he went to nursing school. So he started his education in nursing. So that's why he quit his job as an ambulance driver. Yeah.
Because nurse is like the next level up of ambulance driver because they don't have to drive around.
Well, not just that, but I think with ambulance driving, actually, you are not able to perform many things. Like you are just responsible for keeping the patient alive to the hospital. But yeah, it's not. After that, it's I don't know what happens.
I think they basically
he kind of wanted to do more.
Issue the ambulance driver a stick, and what he does is when he's driving to the hospital, he periodically just pokes the guy in the back. Says, "You still alive?"
I guess so. Yeah, I don't know. It's like.
All right, tell me about 7-year-old Aimee.
Okay. Okay, 7-year-old Aimee was.
Was she a delight or a terror?
I was pretty good at school, actually, and I was good at reading because I don't know. I just was a really fast reader. Growing up, I don't know if it's because I was raised by non-English speaking parents, so they pressured me even more so to be good at reading English. So when I was 7 years old, I would read a lot of chapter books, and I would remember reading so much to the point where I would take those Newbery book lists over the summer, and then I would when the school year begins after the summer, right? I would want that prize because I wanted to finish all that because I finished all the books.
So the first language you spoke in
Aimee.
The first language you spoke in the home was actually Spanish then. Is that what you're saying?
No, Japanese. I'm sorry, Japanese.
Oh, I assumed your parents spoke Spanish. Anyway, the thing I wanted to ask you is this: do you process language much better reading it from text than auditorily? Much better auditorily than reading it from text, or about the same in both?
Usually, I think I would have to read it. Although I'm pretty I like podcasts though, or I like Audible books. But when I watch TV or anything like movies, for example, I need subtitles because I don't know, for some reason I can't catch it as fast unless it's on the screen as subtitles.
Does other audio?
So I guess either.
Does other audio in the background disrupt your ability to focus on what's being said when you're listening to spoken words? Or is it easy for you to block out background noises?
So you're asking if I'm
if you're easily bothered,
if I'm reading some,
like you're listening to somebody talk, right? And then they're just talking to you, and you're going, okay. But then over here, somebody's having a conversation, and snippets of that conversation are coming into your audio space. Is that going to make it more difficult for you to understand what the person who's talking to you is saying to you? Or are you easily going to push that out of your mind and compartmentalize that?
I don't think I'm that easily distracted if I'm in a conversation with somebody. But of course, that kind of depends on if the person I'm speaking to is even interesting. But for the most part, I think I'm good at just being in that moment in the conversation. And if I don't think I have a problem with that. If anything, it does bug me when I'm doing,
Let's jump to 12-year-old Aimee for a second. 12-year-old Aimee was being taught in various ways by different teachers. Some teachers would lecture 12-year-old Aimee and expect her to take notes the whole time. Some teachers would make 12-year-old Aimee make a bunch of posters and turn them in. Some teachers would have 12-year-old Aimee do a bunch of repetitive examples of the same kind of problem. What teaching style did you find most effective for you when 12-year-old Aimee was faced with these various different teachers, each teaching her somewhat different ways?
Depends on if you mean retaining knowledge, because if it's retaining knowledge, I would like the lesson to be a little bit more straightforward. But the lessons that stuck to me would be the ones where I got to interact.
Okay.
So, like the ones that stick to me, yeah. Like for example, like I do remember in history classes, we had like a certain project that we had to do, and that was a very hands-on project where you had to use materials that like they would use in ancient times and only in ancient times. So that clearly sticks to me because I remember like actually experiencing it.
Okay. If there are 3 Fargles in a bucket and a wash bin is made up of 2 buckets and a Fargle, how many total Fargles are there in a wash bin?
I'm so sorry. You broke up a little bit. Can you repeat that one more time?
Sure.
You said 3
If there are
firewalls?
3 Fargles, Fargals,
Okay.
it's a relatively unknown species of lizard.
Okay.
If there are 3 Fargles in a bucket
Okay.
and a wash bin comprises 2 buckets and a Fargle, how many Fargles are there in a wash bin?
3.
No. 7.
So
There are 3 Fargles in a bucket, and a wash bin comprises 2 buckets
Right.
and a Fargle.
oh wait. Okay. Okay. I know what you're saying. Okay.
Okay.
2 buckets and a Fargle, so that would make 3, 4. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Okay. Let's try this. Judy's trying to get across the river with a pot of honey, a bear hunter, and her dignity. Okay? The problem is, on this side of the river, there's a bear. If she leaves the honey, the bear will eat the honey. If she leaves the bear hunter will kill the bear. She doesn't want either of those things to happen. And if she goes with both the honey and the bear hunter will reach around her body to grab into the honey jar, thereby costing her her dignity. Now, how should she get across the river successfully, keeping both the bear hunter, keeping the bear alive and the honey uneaten by the bear? She can give some of the honey to the bear hunter, but not at the cost of her dignity, which is implicit if they go on the boat at the same time.
I'm sorry. I don't get it. Like
I'm asking you, you've got Judy, she's got her friend the bear hunter, and she's got a pot of honey. And she's trying to get across the other side of the river because there's a bear over there. She doesn't want her friend to kill the bear. She also knows if she just goes in the boat with her friend and leaves the honey and comes back for it later, by the time she comes back for it later, it's going to be all gone. And then she tries to take the honey on the boat with her and the bear hunter will use that as an opportunity to fondle her inappropriately. So the question is, what should she do to get across the river, keeping both the bear alive, her dignity intact, and her honey mostly uneaten?
I would think like do a little bit of a trade. So she'll give the honey to the bear hunter.
Trick question. The answer is simply give the bear the boat and watch him sail the problem away. I don't know. I had no idea what this question. I don't know. When I ask the question, I have no idea if there is an answer, what the answer is, or anything like that. I'm just sort of making some shit up off the top of my head. But I do like the answer give the bear the boat. If the bear is interested in boating, then there's no reason to cross the river in the first place, because after all, she's crossing the river to get away from the bear.
Okay.
So if she could sell the bear the idea of taking a river trip down the river in a boat,
Yeah. Yeah.
that would be the most effective way to deal with it. Okay, so look.
Okay.
As far as TI goes, let me ask you some of these. All men are mortal. I am mortal, therefore I am a man. Valid or invalid?
Valid.
That is invalid.
Why?
Well, actually, because I said I am mortal, right? All men are mortal.
You said all men are mortal.
Mm-hmm.
You are a man, you said.
Oh, I did? Okay, then my bad. That is valid.
Oh.
If I misspoke, I misspoke.
No, I mean, it could have been. We're gonna
How about this one? How about this one? No penguins eat cheeseburgers. I don't eat cheeseburgers. Therefore, I'm a penguin. Valid or invalid?
Invalid.
Right.
Right?
Only
Okay.
Cracker Barrels sell processed refrigeration-free cheese food substitute. This store does not sell this cheese substitute. Therefore, it's not a Cracker
Eric,
Barrel.
I'm sorry. You broke up on.
Okay,
you
I'll
broke
repeat
up
it.
again. I'm sorry.
It's fine, no problem. I'll repeat it. Only Cracker Barrels, which is a store/restaurant. I don't know if you're familiar with it or not. The Cracker Barrel.
Yeah.
Okay. Only Cracker Barrels sell processed cheese substitute. This store does not sell processed cheese substitute. Therefore, this store is not a Cracker Barrel.
True.
Invalid. Because I said only Cracker Barrels sell cheese food substitute. Doesn't mean that every Cracker Barrel sells cheese food substitute. Okay, how about this one? Let's try a couple missing generalizations. Here's the example. You can't come in here. You're not a poet. The missing generalization is only poets can come in here. Okay, so I'll give you one. Those aren't crackers. They don't have any wheat in them. What's the missing generalization?
Wait. Sorry, you're breaking up.
Okay. These crackers, look at the picture. These crackers can't be crackers. They don't have any wheat in them. What's the missing generalization?
Okay.
So what generalization makes that valid?
Well, do all crackers have wheat in them? Or
Well, that's the correct answer. It doesn't matter whether they do or not. It's still the correct answer. If I say all Spanish-speaking dogs love watching Telemundo, and I'm a Spanish-speaking dog, then I must love watching Telemundo. The fact that dogs don't speak Spanish, I'm not a Spanish-speaking dog, and I don't like to watch Telemundo are all irrelevant. Okay, so I think you probably are TI polar, but you could be TI 8th or 6th maybe. What I love is the fact that you're willing to find out and are interested in finding out, because this is what the message I keep trying to get across to people. TI is a very specific thing in terms of the process, which is to say it's parsing out questions in a certain fashion. So what you just did there, when we had that thing that said the one before the Spanish speaking dogs, what was it? It was the Cracker Barrel thing. Only Cracker Barrels sell cheese food, whatever. Well, and what maybe it wasn't that one. And one of them you said, but is that the case though? Do they actually do that? Right? So this is a perfectly intelligent question to ask. If I say to you, if it rains ketchup tonight, we should stand outside with our hot dog buns, so we'll be able to make use of it. What's the more intelligent response to that? Is it okay? And so what's the next part of your argument? Or is it, but it's not going to rain ketchup and we don't have any hot dog buns? Which is actually the more intelligent response? Well, it's probably the latter one, right? Conditionality, TI, allows you to basically treat words as though they have no meaning. They're just interchangeable with symbols. So if I'm talking to you about whether an argument's valid, it doesn't matter if I say, if it's Friday and it's raining, then I like whatever, like cheese or something. I lost my train of thought. I forgot what I was going to say about that. I was trying to explain that. That you can replace it with P's and Q's, right? If it's P and Q, then R. It's the same thing logically as if it's Friday and raining, then I'm sad. So the problem is people think that being able to do that very effectively correlates with quote unquote intelligence because school is such an oppressive nightmare. Schools try to take those elements of academia that are easily identifiable, testable, or accessible, or visible to others, and standardize that as the better way to be. And it's a terrible sort of mass ontological violence against people who don't use parsing to think things out. But of course, the problem with using TI a lot to think things out is you tend to ignore things like, but it's not going to rain ketchup.
Yeah.
So what other questions or what other things would you like to express here or have me answer or whatever? I don't want to just sort of yammer at you. I'm curious as to, because you are very much the exception to people who come and say, I want to talk to you about this and find out maybe I have worse TI than you think. That's not usually, that basically has never happened.
No, it's like, I can't even well, I mean, ultimately I'm just trying to find my type here. That is the goal, and it's like with the TI questions, you did type me as an ENTJ and I get it because I will say that when I do other typing sessions as well, they will never say that I am some kind of a feeler type of any sort, by the way I'm coming across and answering the questions. But that being said, I do know that if I was any kind of a TJ, I should be able to do these TI tests, and I cannot do them.
How'd you do it?
It's not even that I...
How'd you do on the extroverted intuition test? Do you remember?
Oh, I failed at that too. That's your you said extroverted intuition, the inky.
Oh, let's try this one. How many uses can you think of for a fire pole?
Okay, fire poles to slide down. I mean, you can take the fire pole out and
to dinner,
do things with it. Okay. You can you can
use it to pole vault.
Wait, I'm trying to find I'm like
Okay, let me stop you right here. So first of all, it seems pretty clear to me that you're not nearly as I don't know why I drew the conclusion you were SI polar so for sure before, because I've seen plenty of capacity to at least do some SI. For example, can you relate to me the last time you walked home from someplace rather than just got out of the car and walked in, even if it was just from a neighbor's house? Something. From which direction did you walk home? East, west, north, south, or whatever, or left, right, depending on how you think about it.
No.
You can't.
Like, okay, so I can think of a time when well, do I even walk home? I don't know. Oh, so yeah, like when I walked my dog and I walked home.
Do you remember which route you took? Is there more than one route to take, possibly?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember a route.
And do you remember the route came home in your car last time?
Came home in my car. Yeah, when we got dinner tonight.
Okay, so you remember whether you came from that direction or that direction?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think you're SI polar. So
No, I don't. I mean, no, I don't think so either.
that's kind of a relief to me because what you were presenting here was something that was I was thinking of shit. It's like when pressed for a falsification metric or falsification mechanism for me to give people a way to falsify what I'm saying. I usually say, well, if you could show somebody who definitively has two polars concurrently, it would seem to falsify the mechanisms of it. So, the thing is, I'm glad to see you're not SI polar, but now you're seeming both TI. You seem TI polar. The NE, I'm not sure about yet. So, can you tell me how many different names you can think of for a new pet crab? Some names that are appropriate for a crab. Not like Fido.
A name that's for a crab.
Mm-hmm.
Like Sebastian.
Good. Good name. Okay. What else?
Crabby.
Okay. Just quantity, not quality. Just give me quantity, not quality.
Okay. Crabby. Crabber.
Okay. Go
Okay,
keep going. Quantity, not quality.
Okay. Okay.
Christopher.
I mean, okay. Okay, fine.
Christmas.
I can name the crab. Okay, I can name the crab Aimee.
You could
Name it Eric.
Okay, yeah, but of course, you name them those names, you're gonna have to check its gender. You don't want to miss. You don't want to give it a complex. If it's a boy crab and you give it a girl's name, it's gonna resent you. Okay, so let me see more expert intuition stuff. Why did the chicken cross the road?
I'm sorry. What was that?
Why did the chicken cross the road?
To get to the other side?
Okay. What was he planning to do on the other side?
I don't know. Get food.
How do you know he was trying to get to the other side then if you don't know what he was going to do over there? Get food. Okay, what kind of food was he getting?
Pizza.
What kind of food does he particularly dislike?
I don't know.
Can he speak, this
Fish.
chicken? He doesn't like fish. Is he a speaking chicken?
Is he speaking?
Does he speak?
Yeah.
Now, I want you to tell me a short adventure of him he got his food now. But here's the big challenge for the chicken. Now he's got to cross the road again to get back to the other side. So walk us through this adventure. What happens on his way to the other side?
As he's on, I don't know, he needs another chicken.
Do tell. I'm excited. I'm interested. Who is this chicken?
Like a neighbor chicken down the road.
The neighbor chicken down the road. Is she a hot chicken? Is our main character a boy chicken? I think he is.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so are they flirting?
Okay, I guess we're gonna make it a boy chicken. Yeah.
Are the two chickens flirting now?
Are they what?
Are they flirting?
Yeah, I guess so. They're gonna go out to get something to eat.
Wait, he already got food. He already got food.
Well, we could just like dump it. I don't know.
He's gonna throw away his food. She's gonna think he's desperate. Okay, well, you've got terrible extroverted intuition. you got terrible extroverted intuition and terrible TI. Okay, so but I don't think you're extroverted intuition and polar, but I don't really know. Here's the deal. The fact is,
I'm sorry. Did you just say so you said I'm possibly TI polar, and then what did you say about my extroverted intuition? I'm polar?
No, I just said it's terrible.
Really? That was terrible?
Well, yeah.
Oh, I thought I did pretty good.
Because look, here. Okay, how many different punchlines can you think of for the joke, why did the chicken cross the road? I've never thought...
I can't.
I've not thought of this question at all before, but I say, to avoid being on this side of the road, because the moss was growing on those side of the trees. The chicken... Why did the chicken cross the road? Because to go under it would have required him to dig a tunnel. Why did the chicken cross the road? Because he saw its reflection in a mirror across the street and thought it was his brother Frank. Why did she? I could come up with infinite number of them. I'm not. I didn't think of any of these ahead of time or anything, But the problem is, this is why I try to tell people who struggle with any at first. It definitely has a practice component to it, and it requires you to give yourself permission, and genuinely follow through on the principle of quantity, not quality. And most people fight that, even if they're not any polar. So it's like if you're any backstack anywhere, Rachel is not somebody who gives me quantity, not quality. She always gives me quality at the expense of quantity. So if I ask her a question, she gives me a very straightforward, complete-ish, but very concise answer. It's just implicit to NI users that they don't think quantity over quality is a good idea ideationally.
Right. Yeah, because I guess my goal was to be funny in that moment when you were trying to get me to answer these any questions. So I think I was trying to be funny as much as I can.
Well, don't be funny.
I don't know why.
Don't be funny. Just quantity. How many different kinds of furniture can you say in 20 seconds? Go.
Desk, couch, counter. Did I say table? Chair. Right?
Yeah, you're at 5.
Oh, okay. Wait,
okay, your 20 seconds are over.
Shelf.
Okay, so, how many pieces of furniture can I think of in 20 seconds? Refrigerator, washer, dryer, bed, closet, bathroom door, front door, gate, closet door, carpet, desk, fucking TV, VCR, cable box.
Oh, yeah.
It's of course, I'm doing a little bit of looking around, but I'm mostly using SI there to draw. So that's not really, but see, SI and NE are linked, right? They're on the same axis.
Yeah.
So that would be indicative of backslot NE. But when I say terrible, what I don't mean is it's not really a skill, right? Being terrible at spewing a bunch of worthless nonsense is not necessarily a bad thing. When I'm telling you quantity, not quality, I'm saying just be willing to spit out garbage, knowing that if you spit out enough garbage, there's going to be one piece of non-garbage in there, maybe. That's the any way. And by the time you get to be 50 years old, you've learned to excise much of the garbage, right? But it's the slow, brute force, trial and error way of doing things. So it's not a bad thing to be not conscious in extroverted intuition. I don't think you're polar. But I also, what I was getting at with that is it's the least reliable of my tests in some sense, because backslot people tend to find the concept of it sort of distasteful, the idea of just spewing random shit.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm left at here is you're probably TI polar, and you're also not an ENFP, which makes you an ESFP. But I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I also will say this video is going to be one of the most hot button videos I've seen in a while, because you're nothing like an ESFP. So this is a clear wedge between, am I right that TI polar must be meow, 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 and that now that we've tested it, you seem very clearly it's TI polar, not SI, not NE polar. Okay, so that means you have to be an ESFP or an ENFP. Do you identify with either of those two types at all?
Honestly, no. You know how, like, okay, so it's interesting because you know how people tend to say that there are so many mistyped INTJs, how they say, like, you know, a lot of like people think that they're IJ but they're actually an EP type or whatever. So I am actually the opposite of that, where I feel, to be honest with you, like an EP type or even an IP type. But when I get tested, it's always like, no, you definitely have a lot of TE. And I'm like, no, I don't. It's weird. It's like there's this weird disconnect. It's
but
like,
here's the thing.
I don't know if
you don't seem to have.
I really don't know.
You don't seem to have ESFP insanity disorder, which affects a lot, but not all ESFPs. That's to say, everything about you seems smart, reasonable, willing to look at things from a disinterested calculus in general, pleasant to talk to. These are not my normal experiences with ESFPs, but I'm going to take a stand here and say that's just because I'm fucked up in my stupid stereotypes about ESFPs, not because you're not an ESFP. And I think that this is, there's probably going to be plenty of pushback from people who say you're not an ESFP, but to the extent that people conclude you are, I hope that that's the number one takeaway from this, is that it's like, you know, when Eric says the same kind of stupid shit often enough, the universe tends to throw a counterexample at me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're an ESFP, and I also think you're a fantastic person, and not unpleasant at all. So there goes my stereotype about ESFPs.
Yeah, I know. Like, I don't think I'm any kind of an ESFP for that matter. However, I will say that it's like I came to you because, to be honest, I feel like an ESFP, if that makes sense. Like,
it doesn't to me, but I'm sure it does to you. And I'm sure it does to a lot of feelers. You know, I don't understand how one would feel like a status.
No, I mean, yeah, no, it means like it's like it's confusing to me when people tell me, like, you know, like a lot of EPs actually want to be an IJ, because I'm like, no, I feel like I'm an ESFP or something, because I think I am a little bit more concrete, and I do feel, I don't think I'm as strict as an INTJ either, but I mean, again, I'm relying more on EJs for that matter, because I'm.
How is your dynamic with your husband? Like, who's in charge of what kind of stuff? Like, who's the one who?
It's me.
You're in charge. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, so that's extrovert-ish for sure. Is your
I'm
husband
sorry, what was that?
that correlates a lot more with extrovert than introvert?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and is your husband comfortable with just like I don't want to make those decisions anyway, or would you say he's he puts up with shit?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's definitely, yeah, I mean, he's a nurse. Like he's very yeah.
Is he an
He loves to
IS?
take care of people.
Is he possibly an ISTJ?
No, he's actually an ISFJ.
ISFJ. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Uh, so the thing is, by my understanding, ESFPs are best with ISTJs, but your FE is so good. I think ISFJ is a great match for you, probably. You know. So, you know.
I'm sorry.
I said normally I think ESFPs should be with ISTJs because ISTJ.
Okay.
But my friend Cameron, he's an ISTJ, and basically nobody but Cameron would put up with his girlfriend's bullshit. But you have very good FE, which is to say you are not pushing an aggressive kind of you're not annexing territory in the abstract area while you're communicating with me. And so that means you're not committing a lot of FE or maybe any really FE violations. FE violations by ESFPs can sound a little bit like Trump. I'm a very stable genius, you know, and insisting that I don't need to explain anything. I get the best people to do it. It's gonna be fine. Just and so there's none of that. But if you're not really manifesting like that, it may have to do with being raised by Japanese parents because I've watched
my
I've
mom
watched a
is an
lot of
FE dom.
anime. Okay. Oh, your mom's an FE dom. Is she FENI or FBSI?
FENI, yes.
That's Japan's hero woman.
Yeah, no. Actually, I was gonna talk about that, but yeah. So in Japan, actually, culturally, it's a very FE culture where there are certain social norms that you have to abide by. For example, when somebody gives you a compliment, you're not supposed to just say thank you. You're supposed to compliment them back, or all these kind of social things that I think I just kind of grew up with. So regardless, I think I have that FE element. Even in this, like the simplest things, like when I talk to you or anybody and I'm like, oh wait, I'm so sorry, can you repeat that again? Or these kinds of like FE things I kind of do. It's kind of like something I grew up with.
Well, do you know
that be polite? And
do you know that I'm an otaku?
I don't know what that means.
Well, that's because you're just a weeb, whereas I'm an otaku. So otakus are anime nerds who are Japanese. Being fluidly transracial means I'm Japanese some of the time.
Got it.
But if you're not Japanese and you're an anime nerd, they call you a weeb. So I just want to make it very clear to everybody, since the topic's up here, I am not a weeb. I'm an otaku. Okay, that's just for the general viewing population there, okay? I'll make that clear, because when I do eventually visit Japan, I want them to go, oh, there's that tall, pale otaku.
Okay.
We will visit eventually.
I have no idea what that. I've never heard of that.
It's one of those people who's super into anime and manga and spends all the time watching anime. Do you watch anime?
No. Well, so I was gonna say that I'm actually one of those like Japanese people that don't really like embrace my Japanese culture.
Well, sure, you were raised here, right?
Well, but in an extreme though, I'm very like I'm an American, even though I'm not. And like,
I'll be honest, I thought you were Korean, especially when you said the thing about kimchi.
I know. I don't know how I said like I got Japanese food and it was like Korean, whatever.
But you've got a Korean vibe about you. Not to be groupist at all, but I grew up with some Korean friends in my group, And Koreans are very chill because Japan oppressed them for such a long time that they just all said, you know what, fuck it. Danbe Pinanchiganida. And I just throw time to smoke and drink.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, is there anything else we want to talk about here before we wrap this video up? I think it's going to be fantastic. People are going to enjoy this video a lot.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with it. I mean, just as a conclusion, I mean, that's kind of why I like your tests, because they're not testing me based on my behavior, but my cognition. So it's like, it's like you said, you know, it's like, I think most people in typing sessions tend to ask me questions that are like related more to my behavior. And I mean, I am a TE person.
Self-reporting behavior questions. Self-reporting questions are very poor. You know, would you describe yourself as a person who meows or meows? Those are bad questions because how people understand the word that you're asking them to describe themselves as is very different. You know, if I ask you, well, do you think you're an effective person? I mean, people who from all along the spectrum of effectiveness are going to give answers all along the spectrum of effectiveness that maybe don't link to their own effectiveness from a third party's perspective at all. You know, it's like maybe you get some super effective person who goes, yeah, but I could be this much more effective, so I'm just pretty ineffective, really. Yeah.
Yeah.
Self-reporting.
Yeah, it's not the, yeah, exactly. And then on top of that, to be honest, like, I am also one of those people that just, you know, being raised in a very strict Japanese household, that's why I kept saying I feel like an EP type, to be honest with you. Even though on the surface, I might seem like an ENTJ and I might seem very TE dominant, but I couldn't relate to that. And I would go to every typing session and they would tell me I'm very TE, but I don't know. There's a part of me that was kind of like, I just don't feel TE. So,
well, here's what I want. Here's what the other thing I want to point out is the NI thing. So, I would say, if you want to see a very intelligent ESFP who's got TI polar, look at you killing it on the rat test. So you had to get through school somehow. You were being asked to parse a bunch of shit with TI, but you were being required to give the correct answer. So you learned ever more robustly to intuit it with your NI as your workaround. Right. And now your NI is razor sharp. So that's what a smart ESFP looks like. And I'm sticking with my current conclusion that you are an ESFP based on the tests, even though affect is misleading.
Right.
Okay, cool. Thanks a lot. It was super nice talking to you.
Thank you.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Wow.